Any of you interested in MMA, boxing, or any combat sports? And it's not just going to be related to that, but we have a big one here and a major winner in the world event. And I'm joined with Rostislav from the Czech Republic. And the individual in question is Yuri Prokaska. And I first came across that I was doing an oxygen advantage training, and one of the instructors sent me this link and said, you're after getting a great kind of awareness of what you do in terms of oxygen advantage. And I've known Rosti for quite a long time here, and Rostislav is the coach. And to get this profile on a world stage, so he was being introduced, and yeah, so this is the experience of Rostislav in working with Yuri Prokaska. So Ross, very welcome. It's great to have the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And
And
I know.
at the beginning, I can just tell that I'm from Czech Republic, so that's why my English is quite limited. So I hope that for anybody or everyone will be understood very well.
Oh, I'm sure they will, no problem at all. And you've taken time out as well. You're building this beautiful house in a almost like a protected environment. So you have a lot of work to do. So it's a great test of your ability to stay
Yeah,
calm under pressure.
that's right.
Um, the last few weeks must have been quite exciting for you. Were you kind of was there a little bit of anticipation there? How did it feel just coming up to the fight? And
Yeah, it was incredible and immense joy. Of course, it's after 3 years of our collaboration with Jiří, George in English. Yeah. So it was something unbelievable because we both know that working with breath can't be done in a couple of days. It's impossible in form of adaptation, in forms of cells adaptation, in form of performance, in the form of stillness, in the form of anything that you can achieve. So it takes time, it takes discipline, it takes some steps that you have to do, and our steps were really about the focus on his way to just do what we both know that works and connect it with the practice because talking about anything doesn't make any sense when the practice is missing. So that's why I don't want to talk a lot, but I spread the idea of the practice because the practice is everything. And when you do it step by step, and it definitely change your state, change your health, change your performance, change your lifestyle, definitely will change your life.
so, if I get you correctly, you're more akin to demonstrating the practical. So you're literally putting the athletes through it so that they can feel it, that they can experience it, as opposed to the science or the theory behind it. Was that the case with Yuri?
Uh, he found me at the festival 3 years ago because he was searching deeply within the breathing techniques. He was lost. He was knowing something about Wim Hof, and he was knowing something about some hyperventilation. He was knowing something about some meditation technique, but the functional techniques that can help step by step in his life, he didn't know. So he tried a lot of things, but nothing worked. That was the point. Nothing worked. And then he heard about me. He heard about my change because I have the genetic disorder, hypokalemic periodic paralysis, and using this style of life by using the functional way of life in the sense of breathing, in the sense of calming the mind, in the sense of cooperation, movement and breath, speech and breath, sleep and breath makes the difference in even in this disorder, which is genetically um I have it, but it's not active. Yeah. So the change is because I changed the behavior to my body. And even this big problem, which was told not to be changed by anyone and is for the whole life, changed. Simply, it has changed. And because he was that time 3 years ago he listened some information about using oxygen advantage techniques, buteyko techniques. I have some my own system, 5 pillars of health, which is connected with the oxygen advantage. As you know, we were talking about it many times. And these kind of change made sense for him, and that's why he came to me. We started to cooperate. I took him to some woods in Czech Republic. We did there the MBT. We did there some techniques just to show him what is possible and what he just think that is possible, which is definitely other point of view. And that was the first point that he found out that time, that it can be done other way that he thought before. And we started to cooperate. I had some conditions that time just for our cooperation, and he agreed, and that's why we started our journey. And it's now at a very interesting point.
Oh, it's amazing. So it started off really with a curiosity. He heard of your story. You have a genetic condition which is dormant, and you've been able to, if I use that as the correct word, but you've been able to overcome that condition, that it's not manifesting itself because you're putting this into your health. That generated some awareness, and he was interested in breathing techniques, and he had tried some. And it's always an interesting one because Rostislav is, not all breathing exercises are the same, not all breathing techniques are the same. And that's why, so you brought him out to the woods, you had him do the maximum breathlessness test. And just to explain that for somebody who may not know it, that's when you breathe in and out through your nose, you pinch your nose, you could walk or jog, or you could run, and you count how many paces that you can hold your breath for. And the objective is that you can hold your breath for between 80 and 100 paces. So it's not for the faint-hearted, especially with one starting off. I gather you don't have to disclose it, but I gather you had a pretty good score starting out anyway. But then again, that's not always the case. So you started working with him 3 years ago, and did you find it was easy to communicate? So, you were talking to him. He seems then to be quite inquisitive, or like, was he a little bit skeptical, or how was he? You're bringing breathing to him. How did you, if I use the word, convince him, or did it take much convincing?
um, as you know, the world of elite sports is always very specific because it focuses of maximizing performance and efficiency. Yeah. So when you come and somebody hears that you can power your performance when you slow down, so for them it's like, are you crazy? Yeah, what are you talking about? But the practice decides. Yeah, the practice is as I told all as I'm speaking all the time. When you want to convince only somebody that you are right and he's not, you are in a fight and nobody wins. So that's why I don't convince anyone, because for me it doesn't make any sense. I just work with the practice, and as Jiří Procházka and hundreds or thousands and thousands others, I leave them to come when they decide to come, not to convince them to come. So there's the difference in the energy. And when the person even a sportsman or a doctor or a director of school or a logopedist or a psychiatrist or a physiotherapist, it doesn't make any difference because all what is very important is that they trust in their own practice. They are open to practice it for more time for the future. So you don't have to convince them to do anything because they know. That's why I do the broadcasting, the open broadcasting for free for anyone. The broadcasting are topic. Yeah, so all the broadcasting, I call them in Czech language dýchánky because in Czech language breath is dech and a little portion of dech is dýchánek, so it's a little portion, yeah, it's like a child. So that's these are the little portions, as in Oxygen Advantage or in Buteyko, yeah, little portions. So it makes sense for them to practice it in these broadcastings, and then when they try it, they found out that it works. The people that they want to, and they spread the idea to the other people. And that's the basic of this work. And that's why there are more than 200,000 people in Czech Republic and Slovak Republic connected with these from the big conferences for doctors, as I told you, in a city of Prague. There were 270 doctors just listening how it works in connection with my genetic disability, and to send it to the others in connection with asthma, in connection with a lot of other possibilities how to solve it. And the same way was in the case of Jiří, because Jiří is very disciplined, he's very perceptive, open-minded person. And when you just allow to yourself to start some change, because you have to change everything when you want another result. Yeah, you can't do it the same way when you want other result. Yeah, so he noticed it, he understood it, and that's why it was simply uh, to start after, even when the beginning was not so simple, because I prepared the protocols, yeah, a lot of papers and theory, and it didn't work, yeah. So I understood that way. Okay, so let's practice. And when we practiced one by one, step by step, just using two or three techniques, not more, and to combine the sleep and the being how to the day and the night together, the behavior, it starts to work. That's why for me the most important is combination your behavior to yourself during the day and during the night. None of the techniques will work when you don't understand this kind of behavior. You have to change it all.
Yeah, and that totally makes sense. In other words, you're saying that breathing practice isn't just something that you do for a specific time during the day. It's literally you're looking at improving your breathing throughout the day, which will carry into throughout sleep. I think you make great points as well in terms of we never convince anybody that a person, when they feel ready, and normally they'll have done their homework anyway, they will have an idea about what they are going to, and they've selected you based on your work and your ability to put it out there. So yeah, great points. Nobody to convince. Um, so in terms of the athletes there, so you spoke about sleep and you touched on being calm. What other kind of big wins were our athletes looking to get? So they're putting the oxygen advantage and they're putting your protocols into practice. And what are the main kind of aspects in terms of not just Yuri, but in general, the athletes that you're working with? What are they getting out of it?
Yeah, we have on our web, Five Pillars of Health, 5pz.cz, the part which is sport. It's connected with sport. And there are a lot of sportsmen and sports teams that we cooperate with. And Jiří Procházka is one of the sportsmen, one of the the man that we are cooperating with, because I think that the problem of the professional sport, the top sport, is that the efficiency is so huge that the pleasure somewhere lost. The normality, being healthy by using some athlete techniques and use it for your normal life, that you sleep well, that you feel well, that you behave to yourself well, not only trained and feel very depressed after, it doesn't make any sense, yeah, to anyone. And that's why for me the big win, the big success is to change these behavior in the professional sport, that they understand that it's not only about one moment to be the first one, but it's about the whole life and creating the very big quality of the life for the whole life. It's not only about the length of the life, but it's about the quality of the life. And we can for sure, we can say, and my changes on the cells layer in connection with the potassium and sodium pump in the muscle cells is answering in a normal way, that when I behave to myself in that way, that the oxygen can go to the cells because of the CO2 level in the blood. It takes some very simple biochemical reactions that can be used for each cell of my body other way than when I don't do it. It means when I have the very low level of the CO2 tolerance, the genetic disorder is active, because the cells are really in a not good shape. In normal person, it behaves as anxiety, yeah, and you are tired, so it's being tired. But in my body, I'm not tired, I am paralyzed, and that's the difference. That's why I know, because you can recognize it, you notice it when you get to the being paralyzed, yeah. But normal person, when you are getting tired, you say, yeah, I'm getting tired, so yeah, so I get some sleep and it will be good, yeah. But and it won't be good, because the conditions are still very, very bad for your cell's life. And because my life is others, and I notice in a moment that I do something very bad for my body, in a sense of stress, in a sense of very strength movement that my body can't, how to say it, I can't manage this kind of behavior, in a sense of the movement, in a sense of working with the mind, in a sense of using some kind of food, in a sense of using some kind of hyperventilation in connection with the speech, in connection with the movement, in connection with the sleeping. And these very simple points can show you where your problem is, and when you change it, now new situation and the genetic disorder sleeps, is not active. And then you find out that when it's sleeping, so the very bad things connected with your behavior are not done, you changed it, and the body is feeling other. And that's the point, that for a lot of people can be used in their lives, in their bodies, themselves. They don't have to use any product. They are the best product of the world, but they don't know it. That's the biggest problem, that the people don't know it. And just let him know it. Let them to get known themselves, just to notice that somebody is inside in their life. They notice themselves. They notice how they breathe, how they behave when they are going to work, when they are at home, when they speak with the friends, when they are calling on the mobile phone. It's not only the techniques, it's the normal life. You stay in the normal life, but you behave other way. You behave, you change the behavior and the content of the breath.
So, if I understand correctly, because of your condition, you didn't get away with much. And if you were to eat incorrect foods, you would feel it straight away. So that gave you then an innate ability to be able to detect what was good for you and what was not so good.
Yeah,
Now, you were then talking, well, or at least surmised, that plenty of athletes, they can achieve things, but they achieve it at a high cost. That they often ignore the stress that they're putting their body under. They can cause overtraining. I have seen athletes, and you've seen athletes with chronic fatigue syndrome, that they've literally burnt themselves out. And even though their body might be screaming, their mind has overridden the signals coming from the body. So a big part of the work is how do we get people to pay attention to what their body is telling them and to work with that? And it's in everyday life. Is that kind of a sum up?
yeah, yeah. I think that in my point of view, the the most important thing is to slow down because the rush, the mental rush, and the daily rush, there it's a lot of things, a lot of activities, a lot of processes. It's a lot. We know it when we work that we have a lot of connections, a lot of processes, and when you just only follow the ego and you feel the success, yeah, it's great, it works. So let's go, and this, and this, and this, and this. So now you forgot about your body. Nobody's at home because you are only in your mind following the ego and you don't know what's happening inside. So the first thing in my point of view is to coming back, coming back to the body. Notice what is happening inside. Why are you feeling bad when you do something? Why your heart is beating very quickly when you are stressed, or why are you stressed? How can you change it? What technique, even in a moment, in 1 minute, can change your HRV, your a lot of other processes in your body. Yeah? It's very simple, but we don't do it because we are still in a rush. And in my point of view, even in a uh, top athletes, even in a professional sport, this is a very big problem because the people are talking about, I'm not a smoker, I don't drink alcohol, I eat very healthy. So what's the problem? Can you see me? I look like a Ken or like a Barbie, yeah? But inside, the Third World War, yeah, because it's stress. Because I want to be the best. So everything is, contracted inside. The breath out of the quality because you are breathing, hyperventilating just to be the best, and you don't even notice that you are out of your possibilities in your body. So that's the point, not only in the sport, but in the whole life of anyone and his options, how to change it. Yeah, you have to notice. You have to notice you in your own life.
Yeah, great points. And were there any other factors? Because I know with that interview with Yuri, he spoke about repeated sprintability. So that's quite a bit different to what you were talking there. So you're saying that a lot of your athletes, you bring them into their body, you have them connect with the breath, with the body, with present moment awareness, which is tremendous in terms of recovery. And recovery is very important because it builds up that foundation then that you can push it. But there's another side as well to what you were doing, and that was repeated sprintability. And how do your athletes take to that? And if you can describe it as well, so the techniques that you would use with improving repeated sprintability.
Uh, Spiritability, I didn't notice the point.
So with athletes, one major performance indicator in team sports, but also say, for example, in mixed martial arts, is an athlete's ability to do all out effort. So it's near maximum effort, and they've got a very brief recovery before they need to do it again. And this would be their repeated sprintability. But we train for it, And I know you train your athletes
Yeah,
in
you mean
terms of doing breath
the
holding.
skips? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We I combine the oxygen advantage techniques, and here on this place, I would like to thank you, Patrick, because you are the person that connected me with this world. Yeah, that's why as we meet sometimes, so I'm very grateful for all the time that it's happening because it's really something unbelievable. I connected oxygen advantage techniques, even the sips, the very short breaths in a count of six, repetitive after one, and then the last one just to spread with the exhale for a longer time. But the point is to connect this behavior to the techniques that leads to the maximalizing usage of the oxygen from the breath, from the blood, and from the lungs to maximizing the ability to put some hemoglobin to the blood. So I use just the triangle as you really very good know how to do it, and it works very simple way. The first point is to um, get the hematocrit higher by some techniques that we use. It can be the altitude simulation, high altitude simulation. It can be shark fit techniques. It can be, I use some fusions because I found out that it works, for example, in the breath pyramids, very interesting way when you use it in a way to increase and slowly decrease some possibilities in the steps or even in the run or even when you stay calm and you just do the breath holds. So the connections between the performance and increasing the level of the hematocrit, increasing the ability of the blood using the oxygen for the cells. So it means the CO2 tolerance. For example, in Jiří Procházka, the beginning was 16 seconds. Now we are at 47 seconds. 47. Yeah. So it's his bold score now. So the increase is about 30 seconds. Yeah. So now we use absolutely other techniques than we used before. That's why I can't speak about that this technique is the right one, this technique is the one, because it's not the right one. It depends on your CO2 tolerance, and you have to change it and adapt it with the stay with the new situation in the body of the sportsman. You have to understand it biochemically, what's going on in there. You have to control it by the oximeters and the capnometer. We use even the capnometers, and these are possibilities how to do it in a professional way, style way. But in a normal way, for a normal person, it's very simple too, because he just have to start with noticing what's happening in his body, as I said, in the sense of breath and movement connection, breath and speech connection, breath and sleep connection. This is the beginning of changing the rules that are in the body, starting the damaging or starting the recovery and the functional style of life.
Cool. Great. Thank you. And just touching on, so repeated sprint ability, to give a little bit of context with it. This is when an individual is warmed up. And a lot of athletes will sprint to stimulate anaerobic glycolysis to get their body to cope better with lower oxygen. But what we do is we put in breath holds during the sprint.
Yeah.
So
And
breathe
we use it with Georgia, with Yiri too. Yeah.
to breathe in, breathe out, hold your breath, and sprint literally with breath held for about 40 meters or so. You resume normal breathing, or you might have minimal breaths if you want to prolong the effect. You have a 30-second semi-active recovery before you do it again, and you do 5 or 6 reps. And it's tough. It's as tough as it gets in terms of you're adding sprinting, hypoxia, and high carbon dioxide all in one. And it's a major psychological stressor because of the air hunger. And it's also a physiological stressor because you're exposing your body to low oxygen and you're activating a stress response. So it's almost that it's two opposites of the same coin. You talked about recovery, rest, connecting with the body, connecting with the breath, improving sleep. And now we have the absolute opposite, which is turning everything upside down. It's causing the body to make adaptations. But what you were saying is that it's when an athlete's foundational breathing is improving that we can start steering them into the stressor exercises
Yeah.
and not to do it straight off the bat.
Yeah. So for as a very good example is when we start with Yiri 3 years
Yeah,
ago, the sprints were only 40 meters
yeah,
and it was 5 times. Yeah. Now we do 120 meters and it's 10 times, and we use it in connection with the breath pyramids, with the maximal pulses, with the sequentials from Buteyko, yeah, because I fuse it just for Yuji to make it for the body 1 day very hard, yeah, in the sense of hyper capnic and hypoxic training, and the other way just to make it calmer but intensive too, but without the movement, and just train in the stillness, the reduction of the breath when the body can do it, not in connection with the movement, and manage it very well. Yeah, and these changing the conditions make some very little other point of discomfort in the body. It's called hormesis, but it's really very, very useful point of changing the active point and the recovery point. And both points, as you said, are the two sides of one coin, because both when are doing functional way helps and are connected one to the other. So that's why I'm really happy, I'm very pleased that these things are even happening, that it works, that the people understand it more and more, even in not only in sports, but a lot of other professions, a lot of other very specific parts of work with the children, with very old people. Yeah, we have very big successes with the senior sportsmen. They have a lot of medals from the senior I don't know, sportsmen from around the world, the athletes and so on. We work with a lot of people from, for example, swimming. Yeah, because swimming normally said, how can I breathe through the nose when I swim? So we just put together the possibilities how to use it by the swimming, not only just thinking that it's not possible, yeah, because it's about something else, not only using the nose.
yeah. And I often feel that when people first think about breathing, their perception of it can be very, very poor, that there's a lack of awareness there. And breathing has hardly been scratched in terms of putting it out there in the sports environment. The potential here is enormous. So, any advice on people in terms of starting off? I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to leave that question for you. So, somebody who is just starting off, they're new to breathing. There's a huge, enormous potential there, but of course, we don't want to dive. Well, maybe some people do want to dive head first, or do you dip your toes into the water? So, what would you advise somebody starting off?
As we were talking before, we can talk about a lot of techniques. Yeah, it's possibility. We know that they are existing and they are helpful, definitely. But in my point of view, as I said, the techniques can't help when you don't change your attitude, your style of life, your level of relationship to yourself. Yeah, you have to change both the day and night, as we said. What means? Because somebody say, what does it mean? Yeah, it means that you don't use your nose for breathing, but you just notice how to use your nose for breathing in connection with the processes that you are doing with your body all the time. Because it's not about using the nose; it's about using the style of breath with your nose, and then you can thinking what your body is allowed to do, what can be done without hyperventilation, then it's okay. When you are somewhere that you are hyperventilating, you are stressing yourself too much, don't do it to yourself and try to be in an adapt zone. Where is the point of the hormesis that we're talking about? And you can adapt the body to a bigger or higher level of the CO2 tolerance. That's the way it works. When you just want to jump over the adaptation, you can go just to one point and it's shock. The body is only shocked. It's not going to be adapted to a new version of itself. It's only a shock. So you can't shorten your way. It takes time, as the very important things in life all the time takes time. When you see the child and it's starting to using the steps, it can't be done in a week. It takes time because it's connected with the synapses, with the neurons. You have to do it for some times. When the child is starting to speak, it's not about 2 weeks. It's about half a year, for example. And in my point of view is not to be in that processes only for 2 weeks, but start the change minimum of 3 months. Then after this change, you can start noticing, you can start talking what's going to happen after. But before this uh, time, you can't change so much, so many things. And if you just want to be very quick in your life and you want to make it better earlier, that's your problem because the mind is still very quick and she wants to change your life very quick just only for one thing because you want not to uh, use the functional way after. You don't want to continue, you just want to do something then stop and go to the pub and don't to behave yourself functional way. So that's why you have to change your thinking, that the noticing and taking care of your body, of your breath, of your mind, of your being is the best way, is the best trip that you can ever do. And you can go to Maldives, you can go to all the places around the world, but when you are not at home in your own body, you won't be feeling well anywhere in the world. So that's why I think that this is the first point. Slow down, notice, and practice. These are 3 points that will be good for starting in my point of view.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Ross. I really enjoyed the conversation and the best of luck to the athletes that you're working with and very much specifically with Yuri. And yeah, let's stay in touch. For people, I'm sure you're on social media. How can people hear of you?
So my social media I can tell it, but before I would like to thank you once more again, Patrick, because your job is incredible. Nobody knows. I think that nobody knows how much work it takes to do it in such a huge way of the materials that we can, all the master instructors of oxygen and aeronautics can use. that it's the evidence-based medicine, very specific way of working, and it takes time. It takes a lot of energy. So not on that's not only about my social networks, but it's about your job. It's about your work, Patrick. That it connects the people in around the world in connection with the functional breathing. And when somebody wants to see my work, it's on a YouTube channel, Rostislava Slovak. It's on our websites, five in number PZ, 5 pillars of health, but health in Czech Republic is zdraví, so 5pz.cz. And we have the Facebook groups, and there are a lot of situations. There are tens of thousands of people sharing their successes and inspiring the others to do the good job for their lives. So, and we have the very successful book, change your life, change your breath, and the things start to happen. And this is a very, very big pleasure for me, because this is the point of sending the information to the people that don't use on the internet, and they start to work with themselves even in their lives this way too. So all the stuff can be done around the world. Everybody can change it with himself or herself in his life or her life.
Great stuff. And thanks very much for the kind words there, Ross. So
Thank you.
that was super. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.